What's up guys, Irman here, Monster Gadgets, and in today's video, we're going to talk about my CyberTruck experience. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Alright, welcome back. So for those of you that are joining, I am day one placeholder, order, whatever you want to call it. I was literally online on Tesla's website ordering my Cybertruck as they were announcing it, and I was about 9,000 some in line that I recently found out. And so when I took delivery of my you know what, okay, I can't do this. That Cybertruck was an RC version that I bought from TJ Maxx a couple months ago, but I am going to talk about my Tesla Cybertruck experience in this video. So it is true, I did order my Cybertruck day one when they announced it. I was on the website ordering it as the event was going on. I later found out that I'm about 9,000 some in line, but here's the thing. What I ordered and what was just released just a few days ago are very different. So let me tell you why. So first of all, when I first ordered the Cybertruck, there were a couple different variants available, and one of the things that was discussed was that it will hold 6 people. As you know, for those of you that might be following me for a while, by the way, if you're not, go subscribe to my channel because I do a lot of videos on Tesla tech and all that fun stuff. So I've got 6 kids, my wife and myself, so there's a total of 8 of us, and it is important for me to have a car that can at least haul most of us, if not all of us. And I've done separate videos where I've talked about having a EV SUV big enough for bigger families, where currently I believe the most that can hold are 7 people, including the Model X. Now, the Model X, we do have one. My wife drives it. I've got a Model S Plaid and I've got a Model 3 Performance. But the Model X, while it can hold 7 people, there's not a whole lot of room left for cargo space. And yes, all of you Tesla fan people, I'm one of them, but I'm a realist. Having those many people in a car, you cannot travel with having all their luggages and all their things if you're going on a road trip comfortably. What I will compare that to, where I have done road trips on a normal ICE car, is for example a Yukon Denali or XL, one of those bigger SUVs where you can actually hold all 8 people, plus have extended storage in the back to hold all the luggage and everything in place. So I personally think there's a huge space for that, or a huge market for that space for bigger families, for other manufacturers to get into. Tesla obviously currently right now is not aiming for that. With the Cybertruck coming out, again holds 5 people instead of 6. So that was point number 1 that I missed on, and kind of, I guess, I'm down about, meaning it doesn't really fit my need from that perspective. So even though my X holds 7, my S holds 5, my 3 holds 5, having a Cybertruck that holds another 5 people doesn't really help me a whole lot. So that was one thing that I was kind of let down about. Point number 2 that I was let down about, and there's a lot of mixed feelings about this, but again, I'm going to talk about it from my perspective. The range on the Cybertruck currently that it was released at is far lower than what it was advertised. When I ordered my Cybertruck, it was 500 plus miles for the tri-motor, and yes, while you can achieve around 470 plus with the range extender, which by the way is $16,000, you're looking at a minimum of $100,000 plus $16,000 to get close to 500 mile range. Now, why do I need 500 mile range? Number 1, I do a lot of road trips to Michigan, and so even with my Model S, which is rated for about 400 plus miles, 407 if I'm not mistaken, with the normal tires, I still have to make one stop to get there with enough battery to allow me to move around once I get there. With the Cybertruck, if I didn't have that 500 plus miles and I decided to take that on a road trip, I would still have to make that 1 stop or possibly 2 stops, depending on what's available now and what I end up possibly getting. So when I ordered it, again, it was 500 plus miles. I was thinking, okay, that's going to be enough for me to take at least a road trip to Michigan without stopping and saving that time and being able to get there with enough juice to do what I need to do. So that is not going to happen. And I don't see myself buying the Beast version for $100,000 and then buying a range extender for $16,000. It's just not, it doesn't make any sense. So That is number 2, that I don't think it's gonna work for me. So number 3, as far as actual payload capacity and towing capacity or limitations on the CyberTruck, with the current specs that it's outlined to be delivered at, if you're actually hauling something, because you're pulling more weight, it's gonna go ahead and lower the range on the car itself. Now, I personally do not haul anything. I am not in construction. I don't have a truck. I've never used a truck for that purpose. But if I'm buying a truck for that reason, or I guess if I'm buying a truck and I have that capability, I want it to perform at its best. Meaning, if I go out and buy a normal ICE truck, yeah, same thing on that. The more weight there is, the more gas it's going to consume. But with electric, because the mileage drop, you are going to be required to charge more often. So I like to have that capability if I'm investing is probably not the right word, if I'm paying that much money for a truck that has that capability. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, if it's got 500 plus mile range, if I was to tow something or haul something, yes, that range will drop a little bit, but it would still allow me to do what I need to do without having to charge too many times. So those are just the top 3 things that, in my opinion, are a bit of a letdown for me. Am I gonna buy the CyberTruck? I don't know yet. Most likely not. As I mentioned, I've got the X, I've got the S, and I got the 3. If it did have, in fact, if I was able to carry 6 people in it or more, hands down, I would probably buy the CyberTruck and maybe get rid of my Model 3. But because I can't do that, that's gonna be a deal breaker for me. Now, as far as the rest of the specs on the CyberTruck, I'm gonna go ahead and talk through those now. Keep in mind, again, I am not in construction. I would love to see someone that actually uses this truck for that purpose, meaning hauling and doing those type of things a normal person with a truck would do. But as you know, at least in North America, most people that have trucks don't use it for that purpose. And one thing that I wish Tesla would have done is, and a lot of people that are reviewing this car online that were able to get their hands on, is they're so focused on 0 to 60 time. They're so focused on just the everyday use of it without focusing on what the true purpose of this truck is. Because Elon has mentioned, he's comparing it to people using it for construction and heavy payloads and towing and those type of things. So keep in mind, this is just my perspective. I am not, I've never been in that space, so I don't know how that would work. But let's take a look at, for example, first, obviously it's got a stainless steel exoskeleton setup, which obviously no chips, no paint issues whatsoever. And one of the things I immediately thought of is now I can actually park next to another car. Whereas right now with all my cars, I park all the way in the back away from everyone because my fear is my car is gonna get dinged by somebody who parks too close or whatnot. But clearly with this setup, that is not going to be an issue. We've seen endless examples of people hitting it with a sledgehammer, it being bulletproof and those type of things. So that'll be pretty cool. The glass being shatter resistant, I don't remember last time I had my glass broken, except when I was like 10 and I lived in Michigan and someone broke into my car. So I wonder if this would actually prevent that because people won't be able to break the glass. I don't know, maybe. But let's move on. So here is the description that is on the website regarding hauling everything. So it says haul everything you need with 2,500 pound payload and 11,000 pounds of towing capacity. The funny thing is, here's what they put. They put it's equivalent to an average African elephant. I don't know how to compare that to what people use it for in construction, like they're demonstrating. So I thought it was kind of interesting that they put that on there, that it's comparing it to an average African elephant, which, by the way, is one of my favorite animals, just The super tough composite bed doesn't need a liner, which is awesome, and it's big enough for 4x8 construction material. So cool. Interesting. Again, I'm curious to see if someone who's actually in the space will review this truck for that purpose and see how efficient and how productive it can be as compared to the traditional truck. Pack it up. Obviously, it's got room for a ton of stuff. Load it up, sure. Lock it up. Literally locks up everything, which is awesome. Love the fact that it's got integrated 120 volt and 240 volt bed and cabin outlets, which is cool. I can see people actually using that for that purpose, and it can help charge other cars as well. Yes, the dopamine, that's what Tesla is known for, right? The 0 to 60 time. All their cars are super fast, and for people that might be using it as a street car, that's great. The Beast Edition goes from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. which is slower than the Model S Plaid, but faster than the Model Y and Model 3 Performance, which is kind of cool. So if you're using it for street purposes, great. It's got the capabilities of being a truck and a sport car, which Elon mentioned. Comfortable inside. One thing I'm really curious to see, I have not actually seen one in person, is how quiet it is going to be on the inside. Elon mentioned that it's silky smooth and super quiet. Curious to see how that compares to the Model S and the Model X, since those are currently their top of the line. Theaters on a wheel, we're used to having the display. This one's a little bit bigger, it's 18.5 inch, and the back is 9.4 inch, which is cool. And then they've got this glass ceiling compared to the Model S and the Model Y. It's nice to have that view up top. And then it's gonna go ahead and give us a bunch of accessories that you can later on add on to if you wanted to. The light bar, the camping, the extra wheel, and then the extended for the battery that I was talking about. So it gives you 470 plus miles of range. This has to be installed into the bed, and again, that's $16,000. So if you look at the overall difference between the three models that are being offered, you've got the rear wheel drive, which will be available in 2025, 250 mile range. In real world, without towing or hauling anything, that's probably going to be around 210, 225 at max. And 0 to 60, 6.5. Then you've got the all-wheel drive, which I believe most people are going to go with, especially if you live in the Midwest or the northern states, or somewhere where it snows, because you need that all-wheel drive. That is $80,000, 0 to 60, 4.1 seconds, and 340 mile range. Real world, probably around 320, 325, and again, less if you're hauling or doing something. And then this is going to be the tri-motor, the Cyber Beast, at 320 mile, 0 to 60, 2.6, and top speed of 130 miles per hour. Now, one thing that I have noticed a lot of people are not talking about is the amount of torque this actually has. 10,296 pound-feet of torque, which is insane. That is a lot of power. And then same thing as far as towing capacity, 11,000 pounds. So this is the one that I currently have on order, the tri-motor, which is again the Cyber Beast. Again, I'm a 9,000 something line. Most likely at this point, I don't see myself buying one for the reasons that I mentioned, but also because this is the first variant of a new car that is fully developed inside and out by Tesla. And if you look back to the Model 3, the Model S, when they first came out, there were some issues from a production quality standpoint, which Tesla, in my opinion, has gone a long, far way, meaning that it has improved tremendously. So anytime the first variant comes out, to me, it's more of a learning experience for any manufacturer. Tesla, in my opinion, is probably going to be far ahead of anybody else just because they've already been in the space, but because this is a first time truck for them, I'm curious to see what the second variant might come out with as far as updates and improvements regarding build quality. Based on what I've seen online so far, it seems like it's pretty well built with minimal panel gaps and things like that. But again, there's only been a couple that have been out for reviewers and things of that nature. So when they actually start producing it, I'll say mass producing it, I'm curious to see what that quality would be like, if it at all drops or if they're able to maintain that quality. So I will probably wait until they offer more seating on it. As we know, that can change. And possibly having a price drop. I don't see that happening anytime in the next couple of years, but eventually with any of the Tesla models, we have seen their price drop over years. And so last, I just can't justify buying a truck at this point, so maybe on the line. But those are my just feedback, opinions, thought process on the CyberTruck. I've been thinking about it since obviously the launch event, and I wanted to do a video a few days later once I've had time to kind of process, as well as review some of the videos that some of the reviewers have posted online. Go check those out. They do a far better detailed look at the CyberTruck than I do, since they have it in hand and I actually got to experience it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, maybe trigger some thought process for you. But if you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.